Colson chats with Boardroom about her decision to leave the Las Vegas Aces and join the Indiana Fever, the current state of women basketball, what she's been up to in the content game, and much more.
Did you hear about the WNBA drama that's got A'ja Wilson seething? Sydney Colson, Wilson's ride-or-die teammate and most trusted friend, just shocked everyone by leaving the back-to-back champion Las Vegas Aces to, get this, join Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever.
Two-time WNBA champion Sydney Colson is officially signing a one-year deal with the Indiana Fever. So, the Fever just keep on doing what they've been doing. They're not playing no games in Indiana.
Yep, the so-called Aces dynasty is finally showing signs of weakness, and Wilson's supporters are losing it. But here's the truth. Out of all the moves the Fever made this offseason, this might just be the most significant. It could be the missing piece that takes Indiana from promising to downright dangerous in the championship race.
Obviously, you made a big change in leaving the Aces for the Fever. What made you want to join Indiana? Here we go. Sydney Colson stated it was a variety of things. There was a new coaching staff. Amber Cox was a big part of that. Kelsey Mitchell, I played with her for the first 3 seasons. Joanna Bonner and Natasha Howard are players I respected from afar. Enjoy their game. Kate Martin, my teammate from the Aces, obviously good friends with Caitlin Clark. They play together at Iowa, and she speaks really highly of her. And obviously, we saw the rookie year that she had.
A'ja Wilson wakes up to find her trusted teammate, Sydney Colson, is gone by choice. A 2-time WNBA champion, Colson was Wilson's rock, but something shifted, and she left Vegas seeking more than just trophies.
First of all, this WNBA free agency will not let us rest, number one. We literally cannot rest. But also, I love this move again. Like, Sydney Colson is a great player, but she's also a player that is going to add even more to what we're going to talk about later, and that's that chemistry of the team.
Let's talk Colson's impact. Her stats? Not mind-blowing. 2.5 points, 1 assist, 8 minutes a game. But stats don't tell the full story. Colson was a defensive force and a clutch player when it counted. Remember the WNBA Finals 2 years ago? She was the one making the crucial plays that don't always make the highlight reel, but are the difference in winning championships.
Her, Kelsey, and Aaliyah Boston, they had something special the second half of the season, and I just look at them as a young, hungry team. Our veteran president with Joanna Bonner, Natasha, and me coming from winning programs who have been around the league for a long time and can help infuse something in that team that can take them far in the playoffs, bruh.
Colson wasn't just key on the court. She was the Aces' glue, leader, motivator, the one lifting spirits when things got tough. Every championship team needs that player, the one who elevates everyone just by showing up.
You mean to tell me that 2-time WNBA champion, the face of the God Dog League, okay? The Aces' main girl, right-hand man, Sydney Colson, is no longer returning to the Aces and is signing with the Indiana Fever? First of all, do the Fever even have any more roster spots open? How many folks are you guys going to sign?
Let's talk Indiana. The Fever are making moves like they know something big's coming. Natasha Howard, Joanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, and now Sydney Colson. They're building something special, and they're not hiding it.
She's the face of the league, self-appointed face of the league, but also just in entertainment and all of these things. She has done and achieved so many things and continues to find amazing places in the WNBA, including with the Indiana Fever right now. And I'm just really, listen, what other moves they gonna make? Because I love this one too. And just great move after great move after great move. And
here's the real question. Why leave a championship caliber team? Fans are stunned, social media's buzzing, and no one saw this coming. Aces fans are still in shock, while Fever fans are celebrating like they hit the jackpot.
I'm excited for Sydney Colson, and I'm excited for the Indiana Fever because they have an amazing player who is also very hilarious, like one of the funniest people in the league. So really excited to see this.
Said, imagine the content between Sydney and Caitlin. It's going to be comedy.
Content for days. I know the Indiana Fever front office, is it just celebrating, because that is a part of it too, is content and having players that are going to be good at that. So come on, Sydney.
Here's the bottom line. Colson chose Caitlin Clark over Aja Wilson. Let that sink in. The teammate Wilson called her favorite, the one she trusted most, just packed up and went to Indiana. This isn't just a roster move, it's a power shift. The WNBA's entering a new era, and Indiana just made it clear. They're here to take over.
What do you mean Sydney Colson is joining the Indiana Fever? What does that mean? Indiana is just being so greedy right now. They took DB, they took Natasha. Now they got Sydney Colson. Like, why would they take Sydney from us? Why would they take Sydney from us? What the fuck we ever do to Indiana? Except beat them. But like, what the fuck we ever do to Indiana?
This move's bigger than basketball. The Fever aren't just adding a backup guard. They're bringing in a proven leader, a defensive powerhouse, and a winner. And Aja Wilson? She's not handling it well. Social media's on fire, with her fans losing it over Colson's exit. So, what is it about Sydney Colson that's got everyone in a frenzy?
I'm really trying here not to crash out, okay? I can't take too much more. I just said the other day, what did I say? Another bomb is Sunday. I said, this isn't it. You know, I can't wait to see what the next bomb would be. Didn't know this would be the bomb. Stephanie White ain't playing fair. I have to say it again. Stephanie White is not playing fair. She on one.
Let's break it down. On paper, Colson isn't a game changer. She's not dropping 30 a night, but she's a defensive disruptor, a playmaker, and clutch when it counts. Now, imagine that alongside Caitlin Clark, or stepping up when Clark rests. That's the depth that turns a good team into a great one.
Sydney Colson is a two-time WNBA champion, a true vet, an amazing backup point guard. And anytime that CC or any of the guards need to go to the bench, I mean, Sydney Colson always makes the right call, always makes the right decision. So to pick up a vet, a professional like Sydney Colson, and then you also have a vet like DeWanna Bonner, and you also have a vet like Kelsey Mitchell, and then you have CC and Aaliyah Boston and Lexi.
Colson's value isn't in flashy stats. The Fever didn't need her to be their top scorer. They've got that covered. They needed someone who can lock down guards, make smart plays, and deliver in clutch moments when the pressure's on.
I hope that some of y'all, if y'all are not familiar with Sydney Colson, I hope y'all, watch some highlights of her, because don't just be like, oh, Sydney Colson, she barely scored last year. She's not good for the Indiana Fever. No, she is. She is. Don't worry.
Here's what really sets her apart: leadership. Colson isn't just another player. She's a two-time champ who's been through it all and knows what it takes to win. For a young team like Indiana, that experience is gold. She's the type of player who elevates everyone around her and keeps the team focused when the season gets rough.
Caitlin Clark actually spoke on this on Sunday, and she had this to say, quote, "I'm excited. Obviously, we made some great moves. I think Kelly and Amber and the whole Fever organization are helping us to win now, and I think that's really important. I think they're putting really good pieces together that are going to complement each other really, really well." And then she continued talking about Steph, their new head coach, and said that Steph taking over as head coach for us, I think, is going to be really great. A great basketball mind, someone that actually called quite a few of my college games. So being able to build that relationship with her and just be in the gym and work on things that she probably saw when I was a freshman in college.
Colson's more than a player. She's locker room glue. Her presence keeps the team united through the highs and lows of a long season. She's clutch, making key shots, game-saving stops, and thriving in pressure moments. When the lights shine brightest, Colson steps up. Exactly the backup you want for your stars.
We knew that Caitlin Clark was this phenomenal talent, but she was entering a league that she was not familiar with. She was a rookie. The Indiana Fever have been actively building and rebuilding their organization and this team, and they have a lot of incredible pieces. But the fact that they were able to get into the playoffs and be a team that, although they didn't, advance far in the playoffs, they were a team that we kept saying, if you face them, they're gonna make it difficult for you. That organization then saw that and said, we're capitalizing on this and we're doing it now.
While everyone's caught up analyzing the offseason's biggest moves, don't sleep on this one. Sydney Colson could be the most underrated piece in the Fever's championship puzzle. Indiana didn't just sign a player, they locked down a winner, a leader, and a key to their future success. Now, take a step back and see the bigger picture. The Fever aren't just stacking talent, they're crafting a championship culture. They're building an environment where elite players shine, where competition pushes growth, and where every move brings them closer to the top. Colson? She's the glue that'll keep this team focused, the veteran voice that ensures their young core stays locked in.
You come in as a rookie and like you said, like you're trying to figure out a new environment, new teammates. Like you don't want to say too much. You don't want to say too little. And it's just so hard.
What if I told you that Caitlin Clark's greatest challenge wasn't on the court, but within the locker room? That her most significant achievement wasn't smashing records, but building connections? How do you excel without outshining your teammates? How do you blend in while still standing out?
It's crazy. Like looking back at a year ago today or around this time, like I was just beginning my senior year of college. And obviously, you know, people knew who we were and people attended our games, but it's obviously not on the magnitude that it is now.
Yeah.
So like life just changes fast, but that's what makes it fun and cool. And, you know, quickly started a new chapter of my life too, like moving here to Indianapolis. And
in an insightful podcast interview, Clark opened up about her rookie year and how she navigated those challenges. Her comments about her teammates will make you reconsider everything you thought you knew about the Indiana Fever. What are her true feelings toward the team around her? From sophomore Aaliyah Boston to Fever's close friend Lexi Hull and others such as Kelsey Mitchell and Nalissa Smith, we uncover Caitlin's unfiltered thoughts about them. Ready for the inside scoop? Let's dive in.
I mean, it was just a crazy year because you go all the way up into the national championship game and then you're playing right away.
Yeah.
You know, one of my coaches early on in my career said, you know, your rookie year is always so hard because you're in a new city, you're in a new place, you're with a new team, new coaches. There's so much that's not part of the routine that you're so used to. And you had that as like magnified.
Imagine this. Caitlin Clark, the collegiate phenom, steps onto the WNBA court for the very first time. All eyes are fixed on her, with expectations soaring high. However, Clark's greatest obstacle isn't her performance on the court, it's finding her place within the team. During an eye-opening episode of the New Heights podcast, Clark delved into her rookie anxieties. She shared,
but like in my scenario, and obviously you guys too, like you're already highly thought of. Like people are turning to you to like be something or be someone. So it's hard. Like you're trying to get your feet wet, but also not do too much. And I think that's kind of what I struggled in early on is like, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how they're going to react.
Pressure was overwhelming, and Clark felt torn between two worlds. She spoke about feeling adrift in the locker room. Should she take the lead or go along with the group? It was a mental battle intensified by her fame. Yet, amidst the turmoil, Clark discovered a positive side. The fast-paced WNBA environment kept her concentrated.
But I think it was good a little bit too. Like you don't have time to overthink things. Like it's just like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
like you're just on to the next. But at the same time, like you don't like, I feel like I never really ended the chapter of college. Like it was just like you up and left. But maybe that's good. You don't have a lot of time to think about it. So I think that's definitely the weirdest part of, you know, women's professional basketball and obviously college basketball too, is just that change. But that's kind of how it has to be too. So it's just different.
Her teammates became her rock during this wild transition. While some teammates caused problems in the beginning, eventually everyone came together to thrive in the WNBA.
For not knowing, you nailed it.
But also, like, I had a lot of really good vets around me too, so I feel very grateful for that. And we had a fairly young team too, so like people had been through it fairly recently, so they knew how I felt. But like, I feel like that definitely is a huge challenge, and that goes for whatever professional sport. Like, you're trying to learn, but also people are looking at you like, you got to perform and like be what they drafted you to be, and that can be tough.
In a heartfelt moment, Clark confessed, "I feel like I never truly closed the chapter of college. It was just like you left. But maybe that's for the best. There isn't much time to dwell on it." This highlighted just how abrupt and challenging the transition to the pros can be, even for a star like Clark.
You mentioned the vets, and I think, for me at least, there was a lot. Some vets were incredible. Some of the vets, obviously, you're competing for jobs, so there's a little bit there. But you lean so much as a young player on your vets, and you lean so much from even just in Philly. There's so many great players that played for the Eagles that Harold Carmichael, who was a legendary Philadelphia Eagle, was always around and willing to lend advice or anything. Did you have many former players or current players reach out to you that really helped you in transitioning into the WNBA?
As Caitlin Clark continues to navigate the high-pressure world of the WNBA, her journey stands as a powerful example of resilience and growth. From overcoming locker room challenges to embracing the fast-paced professional lifestyle, Clark is not only proving her prowess on the court, but also her ability to build meaningful connections with her teammates. Her honest reflections highlight the complexities of transitioning from college stardom to the pros, reminding us that even the brightest stars face their own set of challenges. What do you think the future holds for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever?
There is a celebration right now in the WNBA dump. And of course, the party is being hosted by their pretend friends in the mainstream media. Angel Reese, who the media wants you to believe is the face of the WNBA, when at minimum, she is the co-star in this box office drama. Hell, some people might even consider her to be a part of the supporting cast.
While seasoned WNBA players have been criticizing Caitlin Clark's influence, a 19-year-old USC sensation has just revealed a groundbreaking truth that is shaking up the entire league.
I have been saying this for a while now. This is one of the main problems with the WNBA. They want to pick and choose which players are celebrated. They want to tell you who you should support.
Remember when players like Angel Reese and Diana Taurasi were minimizing Clark's impact? Well, Juju Watkins has just set a new standard for everyone. What's truly fascinating is that her reaction to Caitlin Clark isn't merely causing a stir, it's signaling a significant change in how the upcoming generation of players envisions the future of women's basketball. If you've been keeping up with the WNBA lately, you know something big is unfolding. Juju Watkins' actions go beyond creating ripples. They're fundamentally altering our perception of what lies ahead for the sport. This conversation is essential because it's not just about a single interview, it represents an entirely new mindset towards basketball. Let's begin by looking at the developments in women's basketball over the past year. Caitlin Clark has been smashing records consistently, fundamentally transforming how fans engage with the game. We're seeing packed arenas, unprecedented viewership numbers, and the kind of attention the WNBA has been striving for over the years. But things took an intriguing and somewhat complicated turn. If you find this analysis helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more comprehensive basketball insights. While Clark was drawing significant attention to the sport, the reactions from WNBA veterans were equally noteworthy. Remember Diana Taurasi's remarks? She appeared on air discussing how Clark might need time to adapt and questioned if she was truly ready for the WNBA. Taurasi is undeniably a legend, but her comments, along with those from other seasoned players, seem to overlook the broader picture. Then there's Angel Reese, who has been more focused on social media disputes than on celebrating the sport's advancement. I understand it's challenging to see someone else receive instant recognition when you've been battling for acknowledgement yourself. However, this is where our narrative takes an unexpected twist.
Unlike the other 99% of the WNBA, Angel Reese damn sure ain't an extra. When you see her pretty face, at least you can recognize it. After spending the last 12 or so months complaining about being sexualized, after spending the last 12 months complaining about the dirty messages that she receives from lonely men on social media, Angel Reese, she was given the cover of the winter edition of Vogue magazine. This is amazing! This is quite the accomplishment!
Enter Juju Watkins. At just 19 years old, she's making waves at USC by breaking her own records. However, it's not only her on-court achievements that have everyone buzzing. It's her insightful views on the growth of the sport that are capturing attention. During her interview on Fox News, Watkins went beyond the standard PR talk and shared profound wisdom that many veterans, twice her age, seem to overlook. When questioned about the increasing spotlight on women's basketball, she offered a meaningful perspective. The mere fact that people are watching is a significant achievement in itself. Let's delve into why this is so important. For decades, the WNBA has been battling an uphill struggle, facing skeptics, limited media exposure, and at times, outright dismissal of their talents and contributions.
Some might even call it hypocritical. You guys tell me, what would be the bigger accomplishment? Landing the cover of Vogue or being named Athlete of the Year by Time magazine?
Many athletes have adopted a defensive stance, and honestly, who can blame them? Constantly fighting for respect makes you protective of your achievements. However, Watkins is different. She belongs to a generation that has seen women's sports become more accessible through social media. She understands how engagement, both positive and negative, can drive growth. When she talks about accepting that not all attention will be positive, she shows a level of business savvy that's impressive for her age. While some veterans express frustration about new fans not understanding the game's history or questioning their legitimacy, Watkins welcomes everyone, regardless of how they arrived. This isn't just about kindness, it's about understanding modern sports expansion. The contrast is even clearer when looking at how players handled media attention this past year. Some veterans resented the new fans brought by Caitlin Clark, but Watkins advocates embracing them all, including critics. This goes beyond inclusivity. It's about grasping the economics of today's sports. In the digital age, engagement is crucial. TV deals, sponsorships, and merchandise sales all rely on people paying attention to your sport. When Watkins says she's okay with people watching, even if they oppose her, she shows a deep understanding of how sports leagues grow in the 21st century. At just 19, Watkins displays more business insight than some league executives. She realizes that in the age of social media and viral content, every form of engagement holds value. Even negative attention can spark interest, generate conversations, and ultimately help grow the sport.
Not Female Athlete of the Year, I'm talking about Athlete of the Year, which means if you won the award, you were competing with legends like Patrick Mahomes, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Donnie Carr, and who could forget the legend of legends, the icon of icons, Willard Green.
What's truly intriguing is how Watkins handles criticism. Instead of the typical clap back at haters approach seen from some players, she adopts a more thoughtful perspective. She understands that not everyone will be supportive and views even negative attention as a part of growth. This isn't just mature, it's smart from a business standpoint. Look at legends like Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan. Ali welcomed fans who wanted to see him face defeat, and Jordan embraced those who loved to hate him. Both knew that being polarizing can boost a sport's interest. This mindset is exactly what women's basketball needs now. With players like Caitlin Clark attracting unprecedented attention and athletes like Watkins demonstrating such maturity, there's a real chance for transformative growth. What's even more compelling is that Watkins isn't just accepting new fans. She's actively embracing the kind of attention some veterans resist. She recognizes that in today's sports world, engagement, even controversial, fuels growth. Imagine a WNBA where players welcome all forms of attention, viewing debate and criticism as signs of relevance rather than disrespect. New fans feel included, no matter how they discovered the sport through Caitlin Clark, Juju Watkins, or others. This could be the blueprint for the next phase of women's basketball. Instead of getting defensive or questioning new fans' authenticity, embrace all engagement to build something bigger.
Loyola University basketball coach Cheryl Swoops, she's under investigation accused of mistreating players. One of them is speaking out this morning, telling us why she wanted to transfer. ABC's Lindsay Davis is here with the details. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Lara. Cheryl Swoops was the first woman to ever sign with the WNBA. But this morning, the college coach is not only under fire, but under investigation after reports that the majority of her roster has decided to leave.
They fired her. They didn't just replace Cheryl Swoops, they booted her out. And why? Because of Caitlin Clark.
There's a lot of other going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah. Now listen.
Months ago, Swoops sat on her high horse predicting disaster for the Indiana Fever. She, Miss Caitlin Clark, boldly claimed no one would want to play in Indiana and confidently declared that top-tier talent would never sign there.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. As always, appreciate your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. Let's go. So I wanted to do a little bit of a dive into the Fever roster, what that looks like. Now that we've gotten through the bulk of the free agency offseason, we've seen a lot of changes.
Fast forward to today, and the Fever just made the most game-changing free agency move in WNBA history.
The way they came back the second game, it just makes you excited to, okay, I want to be a part of that. They didn't lay down and quit. They came back and actually try to beat us early, that next game. So.
Superstar signings, game changers, and swoops.
So y'all can record this, you cannot record it, but the biggest thing I want everybody to hear me say right now.
She's been strangely silent. Ever seen someone talk a big game, then disappear? That's exactly what's going down right now. Indiana just dropped a statement that's sending ripples through the entire league, and we're here to dissect every bit of it.
All right, Hoop Queens, gather around because we've got some major tea brewing in the WNBA. Indiana Fever just landed Brianna Turner in free agency. Brianna Turner, let that sink in.
Before we dive into the good stuff, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Keep up with all the latest WNBA news, expert analysis, and the drama you won't get anywhere else. Now, let's get into it.
But I think you're starting to get a little bit more shine from maybe the casual fan, and maybe some folks who maybe didn't know or haven't seen Indiana as much as they've seen this year.
I agree.
So what's that part like, getting that little bit more attention and getting a little bit more shine and getting the recognition that...
The Indiana Fever just shook up free agency like never before. They didn't just add players, they built a juggernaut. You know that feeling when you go all out in franchise mode on a video game? Well, that's exactly what Indiana just did. They went all in, loading up their roster with seasoned champions, fierce competitors, and players who've got both game and attitude. This wasn't just another off-season, it was a full-on power play.
Yes. Wait. Yep. You look good on me, huh? Look good. Like a whole 360. Like, I think I was talking to my wife about it. I'm like, man, what if I go back to Indiana where I started? That would be crazy. Look where I'm at.
First up, they snagged Natasha Howard, a 3-time WNBA champion and one of the fiercest defensive forces around. Howard doesn't just defend, she shuts players down. Her ability to lock down anyone, protect the rim, and control the boards takes Indiana's defense to a whole new level.
Going for your services, Dawana, so why was this the right opportunity for you?
I just feel like it was the location for one. My kids are literally right up the road, and I've spent a lot of time away from them, so that and the core that they have here now is just kind of want to fit in, and be another piece of the puzzle, and hopefully bring the energy dynamic and take us to a different level in the playoffs.
Next up, they brought in Dawana Bonner, a scoring powerhouse who's a nightmare for any defender. Bonner adds leadership, championship pedigree, and that clutch gene that turns the Fever into a serious playoff contender.
In Sophie Cunningham, the Indiana Fever are trading for a multi-dimensional wing. capable of knocking down the 3-ball.
Cunningham is starting to cook. Cunningham 3 is good. Cunningham from the corner.
Locking down defenders.
Several deflections, and this time she gets the steal and the N1 opportunity.
And they weren't finished yet. Enter Sophie Cunningham, a walking spark plug, bold, trash-talking, and always ready to ignite her team and the crowd. She thrives in clutch moments, playing with a chip on her shoulder, exactly the kind of energy Indiana was craving. And to cap it all off, they added Sydney Colson, a seasoned vet with championship DNA, the kind of player who holds it all together behind the scenes. Colson's leadership in the locker room will be just as vital as what she brings on the court. This isn't just a team full of talent, it's a roadmap to success. The Fever didn't sit around waiting for greatness. They went out and created it.
And that's where you brought up the Fever. I think what I've learned in my WNBA experience is pace of play trumps physicality, it trumps size, it can trump experience, because a lot of times when you're experienced, it's really like code word for your veteran, which is code word for your old.
Slow the pace.
Yeah. So I feel like
I know that's why you guys were so good for those
in
years.
2018 and 2020, the years we won, that was our whole mantra, was pace, 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 pace. And what I see in Caitlin.
For months, the media pushed the same old story. Nobody wants to play for Indiana. The franchise was labeled a dead zone, a place elite players wouldn't even think about. Analysts wrote off the Fever, critics laughed off any chance of big signings, and Cheryl Swoops all but mocked the idea of Indiana drawing in top-tier free agents. To most, the Fever were just another struggling team with no real appeal in the league.
Her face, unable to hit. Bree Jones, another 0 board for Connecticut. Better look for Mabry. Off the mark.
But here we are now. Indiana didn't just sign free agents, they snagged some of the top talent out there. The same team everyone claimed couldn't draw stars just assembled one of the most lethal rosters in the WNBA. Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner, Sophie Cunningham, Sydney Colson. These aren't just bodies filling spots. These are game changers, battle-tested vets, players who could have signed anywhere but chose Indiana. That alone smashes the false narrative about the Fever being a dead-end destination. Now, the same analysts who wrote them off are scrambling. That nobody wants to play there, take, gone, like expired milk. The entire perception of the Fever flipped overnight, and it all boils down to one undeniable truth. They built a culture players want to be part of. With Caitlin Clark in the mix, a front office making bold moves, and a roster that's suddenly one of the league's best, Indiana isn't just back, they're a problem.
Oh, it's a triple-double for Caitlin. What a reaction by Colson. Well, how about the knowledgeable fans in this building? They burst out of their seats like it was a game winner.
Let's cut to the chase. This is the Caitlin Clark effect, plain and simple. Caitlin Clark isn't just any rookie trying to find her footing in the league. She's a franchise-changing force. The kind of player who doesn't just lift her team, but redefines the entire WNBA landscape. The Indiana Fever, a team that's been stuck in the mud for years, is suddenly the most talked about squad in the league, and that's no fluke. Clark's arrival has turned this franchise into a destination, one that's not only worth watching, but one that top players actually want to join.
So when you talk about the young girls that came in, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, rookie class, really hyping up the league coming from college to the WNBA, what has that done for you and the buzz of this entire league?
I think it's so positive. I really do. I think it's a fun time to be a part of the W. I truly believe that. I think the skill and the talent has always been there, but now it's just the viewership. And so I give a big old clap to the rookie class. I think that's a lot to deal with when you're at that age and you have that many eyes on you. But I think they've done a great job in the league as well. I think the physicality and all that they're going to get used to, but I think especially Caitlin Clark, she's been killing it.
When Sophie Cunningham signed with Indiana, she didn't sugarcoat it. Caitlin Clark was a factor. Players aren't just hearing about Clark's insane shooting range or flashy assists. They're hearing about her leadership, her competitive edge, and her ability to elevate those around her. That's the kind of player you want to play with. She's a magnet, drawing both talent and attention to a team that used to be flying under the radar.
I'm going to use her word. I want to see her continue to be a dog, because she is a dog. You know, here's what I'll say about Angel. I love the fact that she's just her, right? And she says she's unapologetically Angel. She plays hard, both ends of the floor. It doesn't matter what the score is. The thing that I think people question wasn't so much about her game or her rebounding, but it was the scoring. And the fact that she is either averaging or almost averaging a double-double is pretty impressive to do from anybody, but in particular a rookie. I just love how she's come into this league. She's embraced the bumps, the bruises. She's embraced the good with the bad. And I love watching her play because she plays hard the entire game.
Let's talk about Sheryl Swoopes. She thought Clark was overhyped. Just another college standout who'd take years to make her mark in the pros. But the truth? Clark is already leading the league in assists, dropping 40-point games like it's no big deal, and flipping the power dynamics in the WNBA. Indiana isn't just improving, they're becoming a serious threat, and Clark's the one making it happen.
Pin down here, wide open.
Caitlin Clark's impact goes way beyond what's happening on the court. Yeah, she's lighting up defenses and setting records, but what's unfolding off the floor is just as game-changing. She's driving record ticket sales, smashing TV viewership numbers, and getting people to care about the WNBA like never before. Every Fever game feels like an event, and any matchup with Clark, must-watch TV. This isn't just a rising star. This is a movement.
Swoopes has it, turns in the air for the game. Oh,
Before becoming one of the most electrifying players in WNBA history, Sheryl Swoopes was a sensation on the college stage, leading Texas Tech to the 1993 NCAA title with a record-setting 47-point performance in the championship game.
Sheryl Swoopes didn't see this coming. She thought Clark would have to earn her place, struggle, and prove herself over time. Instead, Clark stepped into the league and immediately took it by storm. Now, she's the main reason why the Indiana Fever has become the go-to spot for top-tier talent. Players want to team up with her, coaches want to build around her, and fans can't get enough. The old guard of the WNBA wasn't ready for this, but now they've got no choice but to accept it. For years, the WNBA waited for a player who could change the game, someone who could bring mainstream attention, pack arenas, and spark a real shift in the sport. The truth? That player's already here. Caitlin Clark isn't waiting her turn. She's rewriting the rules in real time.
Her, Kelsey, and Aaliyah, Boston, they had something special the second half of the season, and I just look at them as a young, hungry team. Our veteran president with Joanna Barner, Natasha, and me coming from winning programs who have been around the league for a long time and can help infuse something in that team that can take them far in the playoffs, bruh.
Sydney Colson just dropped the bombshell on why she made the jump from the Aces to the Indiana Fever, and spoiler alert, it wasn't for the cornfields. Was it Caitlin Clark's insane three-point range? A covert operation to add some comedy to the Midwest? Or maybe just an elite-level prank? One thing's for sure, Colson never does anything without leaving a little humor in her wake.
So Sydney Colson is obviously a player for the Indiana Fever. Someone signed to be Caitlin Clark's backup. And she is I think she's going to be a solid player.
Sydney Colson finally spilled the tea on her move to the Indiana Fever, and let's just say, she didn't hold anything back. This wasn't some dull, "I'm excited for a new opportunity" speech. Nah, Colson came through with the kind of energy you'd expect from someone who's been itching to drop the details, ready to break it all down like a hyper-excited sports analyst with a comedy degree. The biggest takeaway? The Fever's glow-up is about to be straight-up terrifying.
Championship experience is a whole new thing, and then coming off the bench, backing up Caitlin Clark, helping her with little things, just the knowledge that she's going to be able to give Caitlin Clark is going to be absolutely fantastic. But why did she leave the Aces? Well, if you see some of these stats and some of this information I'm going to put out, you can be like, you're going to understand why it was time for her to go.
Now, if you blinked last season, you might have totally missed the Fever's wild turnaround. They kicked things off looking like they were just happy to be invited to the party, tripping over their own feet, spilling drinks, and forgetting defense even existed. But somewhere along the way, they decided to stop embarrassing themselves and actually play some basketball. The second half of the season, a completely different vibe. They went from, oh, bless their hearts, to, wait, are they actually good? And trust me, Colson was paying attention.
It was only a matter of time before Sydney Colson got to rubbing her hands together like Birdman to tell it all, dog. And that's exactly what she did in a recent interview. Now, we know Sydney Colson came over to the Fever from the Las Vegas Aces.
According to Colson, that comeback wasn't just a fluke. It was a warning shot. The Fever figured things out late last season, and now, with Caitlin Clark in the mix, yeah, Colson didn't hold back. This team is about to be downright terrifying. Like, hide your favorite team's playoff dreams terrifying. Like, we're taking receipts terrifying. And Colson? She was all in on the chaos.
Seeing the reveal, I am very excited for this new opportunity with Indiana. I know several players and coaches from the Fever, and I trust what I know about them, Colson said. I'm excited to be a part of the vision that the staff has for this team, and I'm ready to get to work.
Let's be real, she could have stuck with the Aces, where winning feels like a given at this point. But where's the fun in that? That's like playing a video game on easy mode. Colson wanted the challenge, the drama, the chance to be part of something on the rise, not something that's already been built. The Fever weren't offering her a seat on a championship train. They handed her a hammer and said, "Help us finish this." And honestly, that makes perfect sense. If there's anyone who thrives on being underestimated, it's Sydney Colson. The woman spent years proving she's not just a locker room presence or a social media star, but a legit hooper who can make a difference on the court. Now, she's got the chance to do it with a team that's hungry, scrappy, and, if you ask her, absolutely ready.
She said it's a much easier transition now they have a year under their belts together, which would be scary. I'll be interested to be up close and personal with Caitlin and see what it's like day to day. And yeah, like that's the thing where it's like, this team goes where Caitlin goes. Like, I think everyone kind of knows that, where it's like, even last year with the team, when Caitlin didn't play well, they only beat the dream.
Colson isn't done yet. While Caitlin Clark gets the spotlight, Colson reminds everyone this isn't a one-woman show. The Fever already have young stars like Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Nalissa Smith. And now they've added even more talent. This team is different, she says, confidently predicting their future success. How? They're done being the should-win team. The Fever are entering this season with a villainous edge, ready to prove they should have been taken seriously before. Colson's bold attitude, humor, and charisma make her the perfect fit for a squad with something to prove. She'll talk, stir things up, and back it up.
It was just an exciting opportunity My time with the Aces was wonderful, and we created history in a lot of ways. And they'll always be my Aces family, and I'll miss those fans and everything. But I felt God was leading me in another direction, and sometimes stuff can feel uncomfortable, but you not necessarily feeling like you're ready to take a step back. But I think that's usually when you need to. So that was what I needed to do. Now, that was Sydney Colson, man.
Sydney Colson didn't just join the Fever. She's all in on the chaos. The underdog story is about to become a nightmare for the league. And if you're not paying attention yet, you will soon. Colson keeps cranking it up, talking smack and backing it up. This time, she's got a lot to say about Caitlin Clark, the Fever's veteran moves, and how they're setting Clark up to become a league-wide nightmare.
They went up and snatched Sid Colson from the Aces. She is 100% vibes. She is 100% going to be a backup for Caitlin. It's going to be fantastic. Backup for Kelsey. Like, she is a great addition to this backcourt. She has senior leadership. She has championship experience. She is the most fun ever.
Caitlin Clark enters the WNBA with huge expectations, but Colson isn't worried. She made it clear that Clark won't be alone in this. The WNBA is tougher than college, and no one's giving Clark an easy ride. Colson emphasized that having experienced players around Clark is key, and they're not just guiding her, they're changing the culture. While the Fever showed promise last season, this year, with veteran leadership, they're ready to win and push the young players beyond just improvement.
Hopefully y'all remember how fantastic Sydney Colson was in the 2023 WNBA Finals. That's what Sydney Colson can offer. Yes, Sydney Colson did not play a lot of minutes with the Aces, but she could have. The thing that I love about Sydney Colson is that she's all fun and games. She's all silly. She's all enjoying her time. She is a boatload of fun. That is the life of the party right there. But when it comes to playing, when it comes to locking in and getting all set for the game, Sydney Colson's all business. Yeah, she could be silly and whatnot, but when she step on that court, she's business, right? Inside those lines, she is all about her goal, which her goal is to play some really good defense and take care of the ball. And that's what she does. And that's exactly why the Indiana Fever has signed Sydney Colson. Because yes, she is a great locker room fit, but also when you talk about someone who can play defense, that's something that the Indiana...
Caitlin Clark will be great, but she'll be even better with her squad, including Colson, who doesn't downplay her own greatness. Colson's part of a Fever team stacking weapons and building confidence, ready to make noise in the WNBA. Aces fans, however, weren't happy when Colson signed with the Fever. Aces Twitter exploded with words like betrayal as the Fever kept adding talent, turning a rebuild into a full-on takeover mission. Aces fans were not handling it well.
The Fever better get a ring with this because Sydney Colson is a two-time WNBA champion, a true vet, an amazing backup point guard. And anytime that CC or any of the guards need to go to the bench, Sydney Colson always makes the right call, always makes the right decision.
A'ja Wilson tried to keep it together, but after a season of poor team chemistry, she admitted, "We didn't play our best." The real shock came when she said, "We had some things going on," hinting at locker room issues. With Colson leaving soon after, fans quickly connected the dots, and the drama unfolded. Was Colson the problem, or did she just leave at the right time? Theories are flying. Some say the Aces were already falling apart, and Colson made her exit perfectly. Others believe she was the glue holding the team together. Either way, the Aces were spiraling, and Vegas fans weren't happy. Meanwhile, Fever fans were watching, and Colson? She was in Indiana, likely enjoying the chaos, knowing she always lands on her feet.
The reality is that, as far from a marketing perspective, Caitlin Clark is worth more than almost any pro basketball player in the world. If we're purely talking about giving the money for endorsement deals.
Today, we're diving into the real story behind Caitlin Clark's wealth. Her WNBA salary? Just the tip of the iceberg. Discover how she's cashing in big with speaking gigs that outpace her on-court earnings, the game-changing impact of her endorsements with State Farm and Wilson, and why her Nike deal could spark some serious drama. Let's break it all down.
Which was mental. Which was absolutely mental.
Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why Caitlin Clark is poised to become the next powerhouse in sports marketing, and why some top brands might be kicking themselves for not jumping on board sooner.
Higher than the NBA. So I was like, oh, what's she gonna get paid? Because finally, you know, you can get a real paycheck. And then I saw it and I was like, this can't be right. Because this is what it is. In the first year, Caitlin Clark will earn $76,535.
Can you believe that Caitlin Clark, the basketball sensation electrifying the courts, is set to earn a mere $76,535 in her rookie WNBA season? That's less than many entry-level office positions. When compared to NBA salaries, the disparity is glaring, leading many to argue that players like Clark are being undervalued by the league. However, this modest salary doesn't tell the whole story. Let's explore why Clark isn't losing sleep over her WNBA paycheck. While $70,000 might not scream superstar salary, it's actually just the beginning of Caitlin Clark's financial story. Here's the twist. The WNBA isn't just a paycheck, it's her secret weapon. The league offers something far more valuable than money: visibility. Think about it. Every time Clark steps onto the court, millions tune in. Her games dominate national broadcasts. Her highlight reels flood social media, and her name is on everyone's radar. This kind of exposure is a goldmine for marketing opportunities, turning her platform into a multi-million-dollar springboard.
Like, whatever really happens with Caitlin Clark, I would say her big thing is to be ready for the WNBA season. And people are like, why? She's only making $70,000 in the WNBA. What is the point of her worrying about that league rather than trying to push for other leagues and other ways of making more money? Because the WNBA is what's getting the most eyes.
Think about it. When Caitlin Clark sinks a deep three-pointer or threads an impossible pass, you're witnessing more than just incredible basketball. You're watching a brand come to life. Every crossover, every jaw-dropping assist, every buzzer beater isn't just a highlight. It's another opportunity for Clark to show the world her magic. And trust me, the world is paying attention. So, how is Clark turning all this visibility into cash? That's where it gets really exciting. Her modest WNBA salary is just the beginning, opening the floodgates to a slew of opportunities off the court. We're talking about endorsement deals, speaking gigs, and partnerships that could eclipse her league earnings many times over. And then there's the game changer, the Unrivaled League.
And it has also been reported that Unrivaled 3-on-3 League offered Caitlin Clark significant equity in the league and a salary that is over $1 million. So this is the first time that we've heard of any money being thrown at her. We've heard that it would be a major deal. It would be a similar setup as to what Messi got.
You've probably heard the buzz. Some people are saying Clark should ditch the WNBA and join Unrivaled, where she could be raking in millions from the start. But here's the kicker. Clark turned it down. Clark's playing the long game here. Sure, Unrivaled might offer a fatter paycheck right out of the gate, but the WNBA provides something Unrivaled can't touch yet: a proven platform with a loyal fan base and major media deals that guarantee her visibility on a national scale. So, next time someone complains about Caitlin Clark's $70,000 WNBA salary, remember this: it's just the tip of the iceberg. Clark isn't just dominating the court, she's rewriting the playbook on how athletes build their brands. And trust me, this is only the beginning of what she's capable of. Clark's most valuable skill might not even be her basketball prowess, it's her ability to talk. But we're not talking about post-game interviews. No, Clark is raking in 6 figures for speaking engagements that take less time than a single quarter of basketball.
I think she's either one, if she shows up to somewhere, you're probably paying her $2,000 to $3,000 or $200,000 to $300,000 or it's free. I think she probably does a lot of things for free. Like, that would be my prediction, is that if she wants to be somewhere and she just wants to help out, she'll do quite a few things for free. But if she's not doing it for free, I would say her cost is crazy high.
You heard that right. Caitlin Clark is absolutely dominating on stage 2. Her speaking engagements are becoming the stuff of legend, and the numbers are jaw-dropping. Let's break it down. Clark's virtual speaking fee kicks off at $100,000 for just 30 minutes of her time. In less time than it takes to watch half an episode of a sitcom, she's earning more than most people make in an entire year. And for in-person appearances, companies are shelling out anywhere between $200,000 and $300,000. That's the price of a house in some parts of the country for just one appearance. Clark has already done at least 6 speaking engagements in the past year alone. Do the math, and you're looking at potential earnings in the millions. And it's not just in-person events. These gigs are happening online too, with big-name companies ready to pay top dollar for her words. But why are companies willing to shell out so much just to hear Clark speak? It all comes down to her star power. Every time Clark steps onto the WNBA court, her profile gets bigger. She's not just an athlete, she's a brand, an inspiration, a role model. Companies aren't just paying for her time, they're paying for the attention she commands, the excitement she stirs, and the influence she holds.